Zambia Blog Talk Radio.
Do you want to promote your business on Zambia Blog Talk Radio? Yes, that's right. Live on Zambia Blog Talk Radio. To book your spot, just make a donation by picking from the following categories. To get started, just call or WhatsApp the number on the screen and you'll be good to go. Live on Zambia Blog Talk Radio every Saturday for 1 full month. And it will stay on the recorded shows.
Hello, welcome to Zambia Blog Talk Radio. Joining you from Lusaka, Zambia is myself, Kasulua Mashonga. Glad to be here today with you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon where you are joining us from. Today, we will be joined by Mr. Emmanuel Chisalu, a strategist as well as a career expert. Uncle Nathan is going to be joining me on the show as well.
Hello, Mr. K.
Hi, Uncle Nathan. How are you doing?
Doing good, sir. How's Lusaka today?
Lusaka is good. Signs of rains. Yeah, it hasn't been raining really, but the weather is beautiful. It's good for exercising. Hi, Uncle Roger.
Hello, Mr. K.
How are you?
Good. We are good.
Okay. How's Canada?
Canada is on the colder side today, but we are doing fine.
Okay, awesome. Brilliant show, Uncle Nathan. It was a great topic that you had.
Yes. We need to get into this land thing. Let's not just leave it to,
Yeah, we won't say who, but yes.
Yeah, we know who we are talking about.
Definitely. Yeah. So, are you excited, looking forward to the next show?
Yes, I want to hear what the distinguished gentleman has to say. I looked at his profile. Very interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Quite well informed and passionate about what he does, actually.
Okay, let us know. He's ready, I think, to come in.
Yes, he is. Okay, so we have him.
He's on. Emmanuel, can you hear us?
Hi, good evening. How are you?
Doing good.
Awesome. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
All right, that's great. Is my video on?
No. We want to see how Mr. Chisalu looks like.
All right. Am I on now?
Not really, but coming up. Unless if it disturbs your audio, but no, you're not yet on.
Okay, let me just.
So as he prepares, Kasuluva, our guest, what can the viewers look for?
So, thanks, Uncle Roger. We're basically just looking at the recruitment issue here in our country, Zambia. So then we're looking at the health sector as well as the education sector. That the ratio of graduates to those that are recruited is quite not balanced. Yeah. So there are still numbers here and there. There are those that still don't get recruited here and there. So that's
There you go, Mr. Emmanuel.
All right.
awesome.
Thank you. I'm excited that I'm in now.
All right. All right,
Yeah.
Kasluba, take it up.
Okay. Mr. Chisalu, welcome.
Thank you very much, Mashonga.
Okay.
How are you doing?
Doing great. Where are you? Are you in Lusaka? Are you in outside the country? The viewers would like to know.
No, I'm right. I'm right at home in Chadley, Lusaka.
Oh, you're in Lusaka. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So meaning that the weather condition that I'm facing is similar to yours.
Yeah, I mean it's we have a cool breeze. It looks like it's about to rain. I don't know whether it's the weather is trying to prepare us for a cold winter.
Awesome. Anyways,
Yeah.
so let's delve into our discussion. As I was mentioning earlier to Ankoroja as well as the viewers, we're just really looking at the recruitment process and the health as well as the educational sector. Yeah, there was some excitement as regards the numbers that were made mention to say there's going to be such numbers that are going to be recruited, but along the way there's still been complaints and issues here and there. So maybe for starters, is the graduate to job vacancy ratio a global thing, or is it just a Zambian thing? What do you think?
Thank you very much for that exciting question, and more especially that we are now looking at a cardinal issue that is to do with employment creation. I think I must be quick to mention that it's every government's objective to create lucrative employment opportunities for its people. And
Okay.
every now and then, when government wants to get into power or wants to remain in power, one of the key thematic areas that will be part of their campaign message is employment creation, creating jobs more especially for the young people. And to say that the issue of unemployment is only tied to Zambia, it would be wrong. I think to a greater extent, it's a global phenomenon. Of course, it varies. At which level per country are you dealing with employment issues?
Okay.
So, when we are looking at issues to do with employment, that is tied to the working population. Okay, we have a labor force that is without work but seeking for employment opportunities. And that's where now we begin to measure levels of either employment or unemployment based on a labor force that is trained and ready to be absorbed into the world of work, yet there are no employment opportunities available to absorb those people who are seeking employment opportunities. So it's a global phenomenon. Each and every government, depending on the scale, they're all dealing with the issue of unemployment. And that's their core business or core mandate, trying to ensure that its people have employment. Because when you are employed, you've got access to income. When you have access to income, at least you are guaranteed that you're going to have food on the table and you'll be able to meet your basic needs.
Okay. I like the points that you have brought out. So then, if it is a global issue, why is it more adverse on other countries as compared to others?
Well, you see, it all depends with, first of all, the political will that is in place by a respective government that is ruling at a particular time. Okay. And also, it also depends on what I would call economical dividends
Okay.
that as a country you are yielding from your wealth. Now, when I talk about yielding from your wealth, for instance, let's talk about Zambia. Zambia is blessed with vast natural resources. we have minerals, we have plenty of water, we have trees, we have wildlife. The list is endless. Okay. So it's from that perspective when we realize how gifted are we in terms of resources, and how much effort are we putting in to translate those resources into national wealth. Now, remember that the process of translating or converting your natural resources into wealth calls for industrialization, calls calls for setting up manufacturing companies, calls for setting up industries that's going to transform your economy. Okay, so it's from that perspective when you realize what you have that you are able now to transform that which you have into wealth. Then it demands for people to be right on top of things to ensure that, one, you create wealth. Now, creating wealth means creating employment opportunities. All right. We have nations, that have taken a deliberate step in ensuring that they create a conducive environment, not just for government itself, but for the private sector, talk of the civil society, to undertake their business by ensuring that the environment is conducive for them to seek opportunities of investment. That in turn also means that they need people to work for them. So it also creates an environment where the local people get employed. All right. So when we are now looking at the issue of, is it a deliberate effort, or why is it that, for instance, let's give an example of Zambia, a nation which is highly endowed with natural resources, highly blessed, yet majority of what would call people who are capable of working are unemployed. It all stems down to leadership. It all stems down to political will. It all stems down, instead of thinking of the next election, what opportunities can you cultivate for your people, either in employment or in entrepreneurship, for them to benefit? Remember that national wealth is a total accumulation of individual wealth. How much am I
Definitely.
putting in the
As an
national basket as an
yeah.
individual? So what you are
Yeah.
putting in, what I'm putting in, and what Uncle Nathan is putting in, all together gives us an aggregate of national wealth. So it all lays on leadership. And I'm going to, put a strong emphasis. Employment creation borders on political will and leadership, more especially in a land such as Zambia with plenty of opportunities, yet we are underutilizing ourselves.
Okay. Awesome. So talking about economic wealth and dividends, also you've pointed out political will. So then, would it be all right to say that even as a country, even as we focus on creation of more, let's say, educational facilities, creation of more universities as well as colleges, there has to be a focus as well on the industrialization side. So meaning that to some degree there's quite an imbalance, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
then if more citizens are being absorbed into colleges and universities, but then industrialization on the other hand is quite stunted, then there's going to be a stagnation as regards the movement of people graduating from colleges to the working environment. Is that what you're trying to bring out?
Yeah, Mashonga, you see, uh, if if I was president, or if I am to become president, one of the key fundamentals to addressing the issue of unemployment in my country, first of all, is to undertake a comprehensive policy document that would highlight the developmental needs of Zambia. Okay, we have an honest conversation with ourselves. Where are we as a country, okay, in terms of development? Where are we infrastructure-wise? Where are we in terms of science and technology? Where are we in terms of research and development? Okay? So, in order for us to become a prosperous nation, what do we need to do? What do we need to put into place? Okay? So, we list down our developmental agendas, okay? Is it industrialization? Is it investment in science and technology? Is it investment in infrastructure development? So now, as a nation, when you have a strong developmental agenda that clearly spells out what exactly you want to achieve and where exactly you want to be, that developmental agenda needs now to spill over to institutions of higher learning, to colleges and universities. All right.
Okay.
If we say our focal point for the next 10 years is to ensure that Zambia has got high class infrastructure, it means that we'll need civil engineers, we'll need planners, we'll need architects, we'll need builders, we'll need carpenters, so on and so forth. Okay. You list down all the critical human resource that you would need to ensure that you achieve your developmental agenda of having world-class infrastructure in the next 10 years.
Okay.
So that document now speaks to what the universities are offering or colleges. You tell the universities or colleges, in the next 10 years, we need more of engineers. All right. So all the engineers that you're going to produce from here, or those that you're going to grant scholarships to go to Europe and study chemical engineering, or is it civil, architect, so on and so forth, they all must come back to ensure that we develop this nation. We also need scientists, all right? We need researchers. So when that document now is shared with institutions of higher learning, we'll be speaking the same language. We know that as government, we've created a huge demand of science, technology, and engineering in order for us to have world-class infrastructure to be a scientific nation. So as universities and colleges are training and primarily focusing on what the government needs, graduate employability becomes resolved within the equation, because we know that we need civil engineers, and immediately civil engineers graduate, they are absorbed into the industry. We begin pushing our developmental agenda. But the challenge that we have today, we easily talk about we want to create jobs, but what kind of jobs do you want to create for your people? There's also the challenge of creating jobs, but jobs are not sufficient. They are not high quality jobs. So this brings a problem of underemployment. You are an engineer, you are supposed to be working, practicing as a civil engineer, but you find yourself being underutilized, working at Ministry of Local Government somewhere there, seated just reviewing files of people who are applying for plots. That's what we call being underemployed. All right? I am an accountant. I'm supposed to be working in the financial sector as an accountant. I'm trained as an accountant, but I'm employed as a bookkeeper or as a cashier. All right? That's being underemployed. So now we have this challenge, whereas we are quick to talk about creating employment, yet we're not providing quality jobs for our people. All right? And then at the same time, we're talking about creating employment, yet we do not know our developmental needs. What kind of human resource do we need to achieve, for instance, our it's expired now, our 2021 7th National Development Plan. We talk of Vision 2030. So we haven't been honest with ourselves. And if I was a president, in terms of addressing the issue of unemployment, this is one of the strategies that I would employ to ensure that what's being offered in colleges, universities, speaks to the needs of the industry and what government is looking for to advance its developmental agenda.
What I have picked from what you've said, Mr. Chisalu, one then talks about the curriculum. In a way, then it's about changing the curriculum, fitting the needs that are out there in the industry for starters. Also, you have made mention to say the government's, the sole providers of employment are the government. But then also, the argument that comes in is that really the government's role is not creation of employment, really, but provision of a conducive environment for individuals that are innovative to thrive and all ideas. But then, before we actually get to tackle that one, I would like to take you back a bit, looking at the health and educational sector, because then we're looking at the numbers.
Maybe, sorry, Kasulu, before you go to another sector. He has put up some very critical points I would like to add on to. One of, I think the points, Mr. Chisalu, you have talked about is the lacking employment opportunities. Let me point at you people who live in Lusaka especially. I'm anti-Lusaka. I love Chadley where you are. Every time I am in Zambia, I live somewhere there. Reedmat Lodge. There's a small lodge there. I love it.
Awesome.
You people, especially you are in Lusaka, you've built, Nathan and I, we even joke that every one of you has a shopping mall. Each one of you, you have your own single shopping mall. In those shopping malls are clothes which are made from China. We did a study on this radio. What does it mean to buy a shirt which is made in China? Who are we putting out of employment because of what we have done? A cotton farmer is out of employment in Chipata. The logistics man who is supposed to be transporting the cotton is out of employment. The banker who is supposed to give a loan to the farmer is out of employment. The people who are going to process the shirt, they are out of employment.
Yeah.
It is a whole list. And you people who are in Lusaka, you've chosen the shortcut. And you think you are advanced. Oh, these shopping malls. Oh, we have shopping malls. These are shopping malls. But what we are forgetting, it is how many people we have cut out of employment by what we have done in our country. So it starts with that kind of mindset. 3/4 of the products which are in ShopRite, processed foods, in jars, in tins, we are creating employment in South Africa.
Yeah. I agree with you.
And the only thing we bring in Zambia is for the salesman. We've cut out again, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 jobs. Just to process a jam, Kasuluva, and yourself, just to process jam, there is somebody who does a bottle, who makes a bottle. There's somebody who makes a lead, a company which makes a lead. There's somebody who makes a label. There is the machine operators in those companies. All those jobs are gone.
Yeah.
You have said we need a document. I said probably we don't even need a document. We just need to be smart.
True.
Maybe if we can build these beautiful malls and half of the product is going to be Zambian, maybe. If we can't do that, let's stop building shopping malls. I submit.
That's very powerful submission. And I totally agree with you. In that, as Zambia, we are on the receiving end of what has already been produced. So ours is simply sales and distribution. Okay. So, which means that from the actual raw material, we have missed all the fundamental stages in the production chain, which one would create, first of all, a business opportunity for a farmer who's growing, the crops, the fruits, and workers who are supposed to, assist on the farm. It goes to the actual factory where it needs now to be processed into a canned fruit or a canned vegetable. So we have adequately missed on fundamental stages of us creating lucrative employment opportunities for our people. All right. And that all now zeroes down to three key things that I would like to bring to your attention. It's, of course, at the center of it all, like I had mentioned, it's a political will and also leadership. If government, which is the actual owner of the resources that we have in this country, the business environment, whatsoever happens on this land of Zambia, it's in the hands of government. So if they're able to put a deliberate policy which does not allow the importation of certain things that can actually be produced right here in Zambia, from the raw material stage into the finished product stage, stringent measures which protects our local producers, then we are guaranteed of a thriving business environment where both employment and entrepreneurship would thrive. Now, to ensure that this core objective is achieved, we need three key things. We need, as Zambians, as individuals, we need to have the right attitude. On several occasions, we've been called to be lazy. All right, we are not proactive. We are not smart. We simply accept whatsoever is thrown at us. And when we're given an opportunity, either to work or to be in business, we don't have the right attitude. We talk of the skill. All right, everything that you had mentioned, starting from the actual production to the finished product, calls for specific and tailored skills in the production chain. Do we have the right kind of skill set, the right competences to be a manufacturing hub? Are our institutions of higher learning equipping us with the right skills such that when I graduate as an engineer or as a technician, I'm able to work within a manufacturing firm and produce something? Number three is the issue to do with knowledge. Remember that for every economy to thrive in business, industrializations, and create opportunities, we must be knowledgeable of what we are doing. Do we have the knowledge to produce what we need to produce? Do we have the knowledge of us to block what is coming from South Africa as finished products? We have mangoes, we have fruits, we have keto, everything that we import from South Africa in ShopRite, in game. We are able to do it actually as Zambians. But do we have the skills? Do we have the right attitude? Do we have the knowledge? But most importantly, do we have the political will and leadership to ensure that we make this happen? That's the question that each and every one of us has to answer. But most importantly, our leaders. I know of a few Zambians who are thriving, who are doing greater things out there, but the business environment is not so conducive for them to compete with these international giants. So then, how do we leverage and protect their business interests as local producers so that they thrive and they compete at international level? It all boils down to political will and leadership. I submit.
Political will and leadership. Great submission, Nkoroja, and well said, Mr. Chisalu, as well. So then, there are two players involved here. There's the leadership, being the government. Then there's also the general citizen, right?
Yeah.
So then you have brought out issues to do with the government as well as the citizen himself. So for now, what can the Zambian citizen on him or herself do in order to have the right attitude, in order to have the knowledge, even before looking at the government? So meaning that there are controllable and uncontrollable factors, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So what can the citizens do? Because there's certain things that the citizens are not also doing. You've made mention of how Zambians are labeled lazy, for example. They are labeled not so knowledgeable and things like that.
All right, Mashonga. You know, we live in a competitive world. It's a jungle. All right. He who identifies the opportunity first and attacks it aggressively scores the most. All right. So, at an individual level, okay, every day when you wake up, there are a lot of problems that are demanding for solutions. Everywhere you look at, there are plenty of problems, and people are willing to pay for a solution that actually solves their problems sustainably. And I agree with you that the government cannot employ everyone. All right. So the role of the government, first of all, is to create employment. Remember that the government is a machinery. We have all these different ministries across government agencies. We've got schools, hospitals, so on and so forth. We need people in there to operate so that government can achieve its objective of delivering public goods and services. At the same time, government as well has a role to create a conducive environment for entrepreneurs, for small, medium enterprises to conduct business, to thrive, and ensure that one, they contribute towards paying income taxes, corporate taxes, and also create employment for the Zambian people. So, what we as individuals, first of all, we need to do is having the right attitude towards life. Okay, we are very ungrateful. Every time we wake up, we are complaining. Every time we wake up, we when you go on social media, we're insulting each other. We are calling ourselves names. So now imagine that whole energy that one spends the entire day on social media, blackmailing, insulting, engaging in all these political fights. Imagine if the energy was channeled towards one specific area where you want to throw your weight at. Think through a problem, devise effective strategies and solutions, and allow people to pay you for that. So what I'm saying here is that as individuals, even in the jungle of unemployment that we are waiting for the government to create for us, which might not happen anytime soon. Of course, government will employ 5,000, 30,000 here and there. But if you compare with the number of people who are looming the streets, that's nothing at all. But of course, it's a great starting point for government to show commitment to employ 30,000 teachers, 11,200 health workers. But the numbers are still plenty out there for people who are still knocking on the doors, searching for employment opportunities. So we need to be innovative. We need to be smart. We need to be creative. All right. There are plenty of opportunities out there. It just calls for the right attitude, having the right skill set, the knowledge, which all borders on education. And talking about education, our educational system has coined you and I to think that the greatest tool to success is going through school, graduating, and finding employment. So even when we are gifted in one way or the other, and we can actually monetize our gifts, because our educational system has coined us to think that the greatest measure of success will be you being employed. So we always tend to ignore what God has gifted us with, which actually could be a great benefit to the world out there. But instead, we start crying out, shouting to the government to create employment opportunities. So, one of the other strategies, anyway, is to invest in early childhood education. Now, when you invest in early childhood education, you begin giving the children the right dosage of information, exposing them to a world of opportunities, telling them that you can become great. Whether you're in employment, whether you're in entrepreneurship, the world is all yours to achieve greatness. The moment when we coin their mindsets, we make them think beyond the four walls of the classroom. I can guarantee you that several years from now, we are going to have a young generation that's going to be on top of things, that's going to be very focused, very innovative, very creative. And Zambia will be competing at a level with China, the USA, Canada, talk of these big economies that at one point they were nothing at all, but they invested in their educational system, ensuring that they equip its people with the right knowledge and skills, which was in demand of where they wanted to be as a national, as a nation in terms of achieving their developmental agenda. So that's what we need to do.
Right there, Emmanuel, on the education, you've said a lot quite about the education sector, even earlier on in the discussion. My question to you is, what do our leaders need to do to transform our education system or sector to make it relevant with our economic needs? You rightly hit it on the head when you said, you talked about researchers, you talked about engineers and all these things. And my colleague Roger also mentioned to say the way things are structured have killed a lot of jobs, because literally everything in our marketplace comes from abroad, so to speak. What should we do to revolutionize, to transform our education system to make it relevant to our situation?
Thank you very much for that very important question. And being a career planning and development specialist, my work really, as I'm guiding these pupils, involves interacting with the educational sector. And one of the key fundamentals, first of all, is investing in providing quality education. Now, providing quality education, first of all, borders on ensuring that we have the right content that we are teaching our pupils in schools. And this cause actually to relook our curriculum. So I don't know about now, but the curriculum that I was taught anyway was a colonized sort of a curriculum that spoke highly of what was done on the other side of the world than the problems that are actually happening in my country.
Has it changed, Emmanuel?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Looks like it's the same.
So you find that here is a graduate or a pupil who leaves secondary school totally unaware of what is happening in their community, what is happening in their country. And they cannot link the education that they have received with the problems that the country is facing and how they can go about providing solutions. So what our leaders need to do, apart from just increasing the numbers of pupils going in school, providing free education, is ensuring that we also invest in providing quality education.
That's true.
Now, in providing quality education, it calls for customizing your educational curriculum to the challenges that you as a nation are grappling with in the 21st century. What are the problems that you are facing as a country, and how can you use education as an important vehicle to solve those problems fundamentally? Because without education, and this is the reason why we're seeing all these problems, because our educational system actually is disjoint with our problems. We are producing more graduates, and yet these graduates cannot, they can't create something tangible that becomes sustainable, and we borrow from it and we succeed and prosper as a country. So it's investment, education. Number two, our teachers. You see the problem that I have with our teachers. These are people who once dreamt of becoming doctors, who once dreamt of becoming engineers. But when they got their grade 12 results, it never spoke to their aspirations. So out of frustrations, with huge accumulation of points, they thought of just going to study education, becoming a teacher. So you have teachers who are graduating from colleges and universities, very uninspiring. So you need to make entry level into becoming a teacher very competitive. You have a teacher who's preparing my daughter, my son, to become an engineer, a pilot, an entrepreneur, and this teacher just has a certificate or a diploma at primary school level or early childhood. That's totally wrong. You need competitive teachers. Teachers, one, who are highly trained, who are highly skilled, and also who are highly paid. Because the reason why we have people running into careers like engineering, law, accounting, medicine, it's because of the remuneration that attracts these people to run into those careers.
Yes.
And then teaching is just left to anybody who wants to become a teacher. It doesn't matter. But remember that these people are responsible for crafting your future as a nation. So if we are able to invest also at a higher level institution, the quality of teachers we are producing, and also the competitiveness of this sector, I can guarantee you that we are going to be on a journey of transforming this nation. But the problem with our leaders, they're always thinking of the next 5 years, the next election. And this goal does not take 5 years. It takes a long time for you actually to realize the results. It might be 10, 15, 20 years or 30, 40 years from now. But we are not interested. How is it going to bring me votes?
You are very right. I mean, Roger, you can attest to this. I'm sure you yourselves listen to the foreign leaders when they are speaking. Okay, they talk about like to your point, Emmanuel. They're talking about 30, 40-year plans.
Yes.
They don't think about they're not talking about like you say, election, looking to what is going to bring them votes. They're talking about 30 to 40-year plans and stuff like that. I just wanted to throw that point in. I like your point of customizing our education system, where it looks at what are the needs pertaining in our country, and we try to navigate our education system that way. But even the other day, Emmanuel, just a few days ago, I was talking to my sister who lives in Europe, and I asked her, I said, do you have grade 7 exams where people fail and they remain behind? She says, what are you talking about? Roger. I asked her, I said, do you have grade 9 or 10 exams where somebody fails and they can't go to the next grade? Then there's no such thing. But we have remained there when those who colonized us have moved away from that kudala.
Also, In our last segment, Emmanuel, we talked a movement of members of the diaspora. They are going to begin of buying land here in diaspora.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing from you is you are going to start a movement to buy Zambia product.
Yeah.
Beginning with you. Next time
Yes.
you go to ShopRite, don't go and touch that jam which comes from South Africa. Those students you are talking to, what am I trying to say? These are small, simple things we can begin to do, but very soon government will hear.
Yeah.
Will hear our cry. When we are acting, we bring a big group. We tell them next time you are buying that shirt in whatever expensive store, just remember you've created 10 more jobs in China or Vietnam.
Yeah.
Just remember you have reduced 10 jobs less in Zambia. Meaning we can do something, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
All right?
Yes.
The argument I'm trying to throw at you is when we blame leaders all the time. Leaders have done this, leaders have not done this. But we can begin a movement.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you.
We can begin a movement. There is a video I was watching yesterday here in Nathan about Buy Black. There's a lady. She's focused. She'll do everything in her power to buy black from the store owned by black, barbershop black. If she can't find a black doctor, she'll go and Google, where is a black doctor? It is time, ladies and gentlemen, those who are listening to us live and us here, to take our own small steps. Before government comes in, let's do our part.
That's true.
Definitely.
I agree with you.
Well said. I like the all the points that have been raised. The issue of curriculum, identifying the needs, obviously prevailing to say as a nation, what do we need to focus on, so that maybe the next skills are focused on that, as well as research and development. As a nation, maybe vision 50 years. If there could be, let's say, a government that's just going to say, let us come up with a plan that's going to say vision 50, where we're going to do this and that and that. That would definitely help. But then before I get to read, there's an awesome comment. There's an awesome okay, maybe let's read that one first. Madam Patricia Chappelle says Zambian honey is in Whole Foods and other stores. It's one of the best commodity. This speaks to what Uncle Roger is just from telling us. To say we start up a movement, buy Zambian products, for example, honey that's been made mention, peanut butter, whatsoever that's Zambian, and moreover, Zambian products are less processed, unless I am wrong, but I hear they are more nutritious. So we are even better off getting our very own. Um, there's Mr. Richard Chibilu here says, I like the point Mr. Chisalu has raised of most people in education sector are frustrated individuals whose aspirations were to be something else. Teaching has been turned into a source of income without passion. This one is points to what you made mention, Mr. Chisalu, of, let's say, what if teaching became competitive? What if the best grades, let's say in Zambia, it's about 5.6 points. Okay, those are going to do teaching. Imagine they go, they are taught the best engineering, the best whatsoever, then they come to shape the next generation. This is what we're trying to point towards, right?
Yeah.
Yes, they come now to cultivate. Yeah, go ahead.
I think I'm not pretty sure that in Europe it must be Norway. I just have to check again, where the minimum qualification for one to actually teach in kindergarten is a master's degree.
Wow.
Even in Canada.
Oh, wow.
You see,
I didn't know that.
but here, as long as you have a certificate or a diploma, you're guaranteed. Even in this mass recruitment, you know, I was looking at the scale, so it covers everyone from the lowest qualification up to the highest qualification.
Wow. Amazing. It's great insights that are being brought about. So then now we have about 8 minutes to go. Mr. Chisalu, here's a question.
Yes.
So, looking at the mass recruitment that's been taking place and all, the country can only take in so much in the education sector as well as the health sector, because this is what we're looking at. So then meaning that there's a number of people that have been left out. So now these people are going to complain to say, we would want to venture into entrepreneurship and do this and that, be innovative, but then we don't have the resources. Maybe the environment is not that conducive. We wanted to get into employment, maybe raise some money, and then get to invest. So then what can they do?
It reminds me of God in the Bible, when he wanted to bless some people. Okay, I'm going to use this term, bless some people. Of course, here we're talking about the children of Israel. All right. So he asked Moses, what do you have that I can work with to bless you? That widow who had an encounter with the prophet, God through the prophet asked her, what do you have with you that I can use to bless you with? So I'm always against this notion of people screaming lack of resources even when they haven't yet tested their ideas. What is it that you have which God can use to bless you, to propel your venture? Look, I'm not going to invest in an idea, Mashonga. If you come to me, you tell me that, no, I've got this idea. I would want to know, with what you have, what have you done? What have you achieved? And how do we need to scale up? All right? So, with the issue of entrepreneurship, I think to a greater extent, the environment is conducive. Okay? I'm into full-time employment. I'm also working as an entrepreneur in my career management business. I realized that there are a lot of people who are actually in need of career services, but have got no access to people who would help them prepare their CVs, coach them for interviews, guide them to pursue careers in colleges or universities. And I am very passionate about mentorship, about coaching, public speaking. So I looked at what I had, and then I looked at ways of monetizing my gift with zero capital. My mind, my laptop, and a vision. And because I'm doing something that I love, something that I'm passionate about, God has been able to bless me, has been able to bring the numbers, because he knows how desirable my heart is to help people. So out of helping people, profits are coming. So the focus hasn't been profits, but to impact lives. And it is through the impact that I'm creating, seeing, boys and girls getting into college or universities, pursuing careers they're passionate about, seeing someone who was looking for a job find employment because I helped them in the recruitment process. For me, that is success. But on top of that is attracting a dividend, which is a profit for a service that I'm providing. So for every young Zambian out there who's watching this program, yes, employment is an issue, but with what you have, what are you doing with it? We talk of Dr. Rosia Siatwambo. He's a trained teacher, but he's never taught in any government school. He was unemployed, and he thought of an idea. Let me write a book, Exams Made Easy. From Exams Made Easy, he opens a tuition center. From opening a tuition center, today he's running one of the best schools in the country. He looked at what he had. He identified the problem, and he provided the solution. And today we are celebrating him. So sometimes we cry for employment, yet God did not design you actually for employment. He designed you to be an employer. He gave you nations. He gave you lives. And so the moment you spend looking for employment or crying that no, you are suffering, opportunities are not coming your way, you are frustrating the grace of God. That's why it's very important to have the spirit of discernment. Assess yourself, know who you are, what you are gifted in. Begin working on your gift. One day it's going to pay.
Amazing. Well said. I'm blown away. Uncle Roger, Uncle Nathan, anything as we're about to leave?
I think it's a good conclusion in my view.
Yes,
cannot take away anything from that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we need
use
to keep...
whatever you have. Let God use you with whatever you have. You know, when you were speaking, you mentioned Mr. Mashonga here. What do you have? You have a good idea. Even in business, it is there. Someone has a good idea. It comes to investment, and you want to invest zero yourself, and you want 100% to be financed by somebody else. Most people would say no. What is your risk? You know?
Yeah.
It is as simple as that. It may not be your risk in money, but your risk in time. What are you contributing? So to me, that was a great point.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. No, we need to keep Emmanuel in our corner. We check on him once.
Definitely. We'll have him.
And consult with him once in a while on issues.
Not a problem. I'm available as that when you need me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel Chisalu. It's been enlightening and amazing to have you. Mr. Chisalu here is a career, he's a certified career analyst and job search strategist. Maybe, Mr. Chisalu, before you go, someone might want to get in touch with you. How would they get in touch with you?
The easiest way, let me give you my business line. So +260 970 625 513. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Emmanuel Chisalu, CCA, SERW.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Chisalu. Thank you so much for joining in, the viewers as well. From Zambia Blog Talk Radio, Uncle Roger, Uncle Nathan, and I. See you next time and have an amazing weekend.
Zambia Blog Talk Radio.